Cool. All right. I think this is a good time to start. If you can all take your seats, that would be awesome. So, welcome everybody. Why don't we give ourselves a round of applause, because we're here. Woohoo! Cool. So, today we are at the Waves Community Meetup. Quick intro to myself. I am the co-host of a podcast called the Zero Knowledge Podcast. That's the Twitter, in case you want to follow us. Cool. So today we are at the Waves Community Meetup. And real quick, I'm just going to define what Waves is. Waves is an open blockchain platform and development toolset for Web3. So when I was poking around learning about Waves, I saw the following terms: payment, DeFi, DAOs, games, identity solutions, and voting. And I learned that at their core, there's decentralization and open source technology. These are all familiar terms in Berlin. And so I thought, well, I think what this event is really about, it's about Berlin meeting Waves. But it's also about Waves meeting Berlin. And as you'll see in our program, we also have some fantastic speakers from community projects based here in Berlin. So I'm new to Waves, and I'm really excited for today's program because I feel like at the end of this, I will have a better idea what they're all about. We're here at the Factory, which is a really wonderful location for an event like this. It's kind of like a hub for startups in Berlin. It's been around for maybe 6 years, and there are other locations. This location's a bit newer. But it's really a fantastic place to meet and share ideas. The fantastic people at Department of Decentralization put this together. They are a local collective which focus on supporting decentralized tech. And I don't know if you're looking around this room, but it looks really, really beautiful. So thank you guys for putting that together. Let's give them a little. So, a little bit about the program. I'm not going to go into all the details here, but we have the first block is focused very much on the Waves platform, the Waves developer experience, and smart contract writing. The second portion is all about the Berlin ecosystem. So we have three talks from organizations who are based here in Berlin. And the last part, there's actually a little break in the middle. The last part will be all about DeFi. So we're going to be able to explore DeFi in the context of Waves, but we're also going to bring on some cool panelists to have a panel at the end all about DeFi. And actually, if you have any questions for us to ask on that panel, please get in touch with us in the break. Cool. After that, there's going to be a party. I made that graphic. I think what we want to do after the event is actually go in the other room to get some food and then come back here and there's going to be a party and a DJ. So yeah, I think we can get started with the program. I want to invite Sasha to the stage. Oh, there you are. Sasha is the founder of Waves and definitely the person with the vision for this project, and I hope you're going to share that with us today. So let's give him a hand.
Thank you very much. So guys, guten Abend. So let's talk a little about Waves, because actually we are not so well known here. And it's a problem because we're quite well known in some other places, and we really want to be well known here in Germany. And probably the next year will be quite crucial for us in our international expansion. So let me just give you a little bit of overview of what we are and what we are going to do next year, and why it might actually matter. Not only for us, but for the whole blockchain ecosystem. So we launched our blockchain in 2016. It was an ICO story. We raised some money, and we launched a blockchain which was meant to be a generic chain. So we have never been focused on some specific applications. We are focusing on generic technology like Ethereum, like many other projects. And it's quite important because people sometimes think that we are doing something like tokenization or the platform for token issuance, but it's not like that. We have always been a generic chain, and we're going to remain one. And we're going to scale what we do, and we're going to become maybe not one chain, but many chains. But we'll talk about it later. So we had a generic chain, and the blockchain ecosystem, not only our ecosystem, but like general blockchain ecosystem developed, and there were like different emphasis, different focuses at different times, but it never meant that we shifted our focus, because our focus was always on creating maybe some alternative to like more established solutions, but we always wanted to show some different direction of development. So, for example, we had tokens, and when there was this ICO hype in 2017, actually Waves was the second largest platform in terms of funds raised using the tokens, after Ethereum, of course. And as you know, ICO didn't last long, but the token remained. So the next useful applications for token is games. So we have a quite active gaming community now, and we have quite a number of projects that do tokens, do tokenization on Waves for their gaming projects. Then we had to do some smart contract language, and it had to be, you know, something new. We didn't want to copy anything, and we created Write. Write is probably, I don't know any other examples. This is the first non-Turing complete smart contract language, which allows you to do basically what you can do on Ethereum, but without gas. It works. It has been launched at the beginning of this year, and there is quite an active community, quite a number of applications. We have developed many things, including IDEs, courses, and stuff like that. So you can basically do many things on Write. It's basically you can do what you can do on Ethereum, you can do on Write. And it's been developed further, and we'll have many things coming, and probably the main guy behind Write, Ilya Smagin, will talk more about it, because there's going to be quite interesting developments, I think, with Write, which will allow you to code things, you know, more or less the way you do in Ethereum, but the language will still remain non-Turing complete, and there's not going to be any gas. And after we launched Write, there are quite a number of applications which used Write, and also applications that use just our chain. And you can see that we cover quite a number of different sectors. So we have a very established trading part, because we have launched our DEX in 2017, and it was probably one of the first DEXs ever. And it still works, and now it works as Waves.exchange, and it's doing quite well. It's quite fast and still quite innovative, I would say. So we have very many projects that use our chain. And of course, maybe it's not like as big as Ethereum ecosystem, but we do have a range of applications in very different sectors. And we have, within the ecosystem, we have some facilities that help startups grow. We have like some kind of incubator, which is called Waves Labs. We have a project within our ecosystem which allows startups to raise funds through conducting STOs. We have some kind of decentralized KYC for the startups and many different things. A very important part of Waves ecosystem is like community instruments. It's really hard to cover all the things that we have, but I would like to mention things that probably no one else has. For example, you can vote for the monetary policy on Waves. So you can vote how many tokens, how many Waves tokens miners get for generating blocks. And the community votes how many tokens the miners get. I think it's quite interesting. Probably this is the first example of monetary policy, like controlling supply and demand of money through the community, through like this decentralized voting. I think it might be quite important in future. And this actually thing was made to enable a whole new range of financial instruments on Waves. Many of them are launching now. For example, Neutrino, it's a stable coin which pays interest. So it's an algorithmic stable coin. based on waves. So you lock some waves in a smart contract, you lease it out to miners, and the miners make profits, and the stablecoin holders get interest. So it allows you effectively to do only fiat investments and receive fiat interest, not knowing anything about crypto, not knowing what goes on under the hood, and potentially allows you to attract a whole new range of different investors, so to say, in crypto, because they don't have to know anything about crypto. This fiat instrument is based on crypto, but you don't have to know anything about crypto to use it, actually. And very important part of our ecosystem is enterprise. So we have very many enterprise projects based on Waves enterprise chain. It's like it's not a fork. It's like you might call it a fork, of course, but it's like some specific chain that is targeted at enterprise usage. Very many applications can be done on enterprise chain, and actually we have been doing such applications as cash pooling, logistics, and many other things. And we have a separate unit that actually implements those projects. So what you can see now, in 3 years we have built a rather complete ecosystem. It has everything. It has startups, it has community-based instruments, it has community voting, it has even enterprise projects. It has everything. So maybe we are not so well known. So we need to somehow think about how we can actually move it further. So how we can scale it, and what would be our next steps. So what's next for us? So what we have? We have a generic chain, we have many interacting projects, and we want to do the next step. What would that next step be? Actually, I probably should say about our vision of like the global blockchain ecosystem, and it mostly comes from our experience with enterprise. We understand that enterprise wants blockchains now, yeah, and they want their own blockchains. So probably they are not ready to use open blockchains. They need their own things. They understand that it might be helpful in certain business scenarios, but it has to be their own chains, you know. So I don't think they're ready to use open blockchains. And you have the situation where you have very many chains that have to, in certain situations, interact with each other. So you have to create like some basis for creating a chain for like ecosystem or for enterprise solution. It has to be like modular, it has to be out of the box, it has to be quite easy to implement and launch. And on top of that, you have to make sure that those chains can interact somehow. So these are the problems that we are going to solve, because these are the problems that will block us from really making this technology be adopted by like enterprise and general population, so to say. So what we are going to do about this? The basic product of Waves ecosystem is Waves node. Initially, it wasn't really modular, so it even had decentralized exchange as a part of a basic Waves node. You couldn't separate exchange from the core product. But it became quite clear that it has to be more modular. Then we separated decentralized exchange, matcha, from the node. And we moved on in that direction by separating different modules in different parts and making it more modular. So the next product that we're going to develop will allow you to create your own blockchain out of the box, and will support different cryptographies, different consensus algorithms. And it actually might be similar to some existing products, but it will be more focused on enterprise. So we're going to be using the same code base for enterprise and for open chains. And it will allow you to create your own closed and open chains out of the box very easily without much effort. And this product is going to be called Waves Meta. Why Waves Meta? Why those associations with like physics and cosmology? Waves is not like waves which are fluid, it's more waves which are attracting things. So waves were meant to be gravitational waves initially. So we want to actually use those physical examples in the future as well. So this product, this chain that can be actually constructed out of the box and launched easily is going to be called Waves Meta. And it will be a basis for our enterprise solutions, Waves Enterprise, and for our open chains. So, and it's going to be coded from scratch, actually. It's going to be coded not only in Scala, because we have coded everything up to date in Scala. It will be coded in Go, so it will have 2 versions, and it will allow you to launch your own blockchain like in 15 minutes. Okay, that's quite cool, but maybe it's not so, so exciting, because there are similar projects. It's important for us, but how is it important for the whole ecosystem? I will try to explain that we have some ideas here as well. So you have those chains that many people launched, or like businesses launched, and they have to interact with each other. So the next problem that you need to solve is the chain interaction. Many projects are solving this, and Polkadot and Cosmos, and there might be some others as well. Our idea would be a little different in that respect. We want to go further. We want to somehow connect all possible chains. And we want to create a product that won't be focused on waves only. Because another problem that we face is like we are a little bit separated from the mainstream of the blockchain development due to many reasons. And we want to, to somehow become the part of the mainstream and push forward not only Waves ecosystem, but the whole blockchain ecosystem to enable mass adoption, if you wish. So we want to make all chains potentially interacting. And logic here is like this. So we need to connect the chains that are built on Waves Meta first. And for that, we would need some kind of a hub that allows those chains to exchange information. But we understand that we won't be able to to move all the projects in the world on Waves products. So there's going to be many other chains, Polkadot, Hyperledger, many other things. And they would need still to interact. So how do we face this situation? The next step here would be to connect open chains, such as Ethereum, to our chains. And this thing, which I will name a little later, will enable us to do so. And you will probably understand how it works when I show you the last bit. Actually, this thing is going to allow you to push any information from the external world into the blockchain. So it's going to be some kind of an oracle system that pushes all kind of data out of the external world, out of other chains, into the host chains, and into the target chains. So this thing somehow unites oracles with relays, blockchain relays. It's a thing which will be blockchain agnostic. It will have its own economy, which will be based on existing tokens. There's not going to be a new token in this. It will contain a blockchain. Actually, you will be able, potentially it can be done even without a blockchain, this solution. But it will have a blockchain that will be quite useful for certain situations. But there is not going to be any token, any new token. It's going to be completely blockchain agnostic. So it will use the economy which is created by using any tokens of supported chains. So for example, if you want to become a part of Gravity Hub, and it's going to be called the Gravity Hub, you will have to lock a certain amount of Ethereum in Ethereum chain, and then you'll be able to provide external information from outside world, for example, classical Oracle data such as currency rates and such. Also information about what happens in other blockchains, for example, certain Merkle roots, root hashes, and stuff like that. And you'll be able to make money through providing this information, because the participants of the host chains make this work monetizable. They pay you for providing the information, for enabling the information transfer between the blockchains, for providing the Oracle data. So this thing works with any blockchains. It creates a new way to make money with blockchains. So it's not mining, it's something different. It's like providing information to host chains. It won't have its own token. It will support all the tokens of the host chains. In effect, it will unite the ideas of oracles with ideas of side chains, of transfer of information between side chains. I think it can be a breakthrough if we actually successful with this, because this will allow to connect any chains, basically. And it will open up new opportunities for conducting business and making money on the blockchain. So it's like, it's not mining, but it's in a way similar. So you lock a certain amount of money in your host chain, and you can make money by providing the data to all the chains that support Gravity Hub. I won't go into technical details. I hope that the idea is clear, and we'll probably, if not as clear now, we will have more communication and more blog posts to explain it, because it's quite simple in a nutshell, but it's quite novel as well, because here we don't want and we don't try to pull everybody in our ecosystem. We explicitly want to work with any possible chains. And we don't want to create any new value. We don't want to create any new tokens, because there is not going to be a new token. We will work with existing tokens. And the economy of the system is going to be based on the economy of like underlying host chains. And potentially it allows you to work with any chains, push any data. And I think that is a very natural step for the development of ecosystem of blockchains as a whole, because I don't think that there is going to be one chain to rule them all. I'm confident about this because of mostly enterprise blockchain projects. I clearly understand that there's not going to be one enterprise chain. It's certainly impossible, because any big business does not want to, to be somehow in one room, so to say, with other like big businesses, because they might have different objectives, So there has to be an ecosystem of interacting chains, and even if we have a very powerful open chain that can, support any amount of transactions, host any data, still there's going to be many like separated chains, and they will need to interact, and we will need to push the data from the outer world into those chains. And it's a very natural development to unite those things, to unite the mechanisms of chain interactions with the mechanisms of oracles of pushing the external data into the chains. That's what Gravity Hub is about to do, and we are starting to develop it, and really hope that other communities are going to join us, because there's going to be, of course, an open source development. I don't think it's going to be in Scala, because Scala limited us in a way, because we developed things in Scala, and Scala community is not big in blockchain. So it is going to be coded not in Scala, and we want to attract as many developers, as many participants, as many supporters as possible. Because this thing might be quite a breakthrough, actually. So that's what we are going to do next year. We're going to become more open, so to say. We're going to become like more agnostic. We're going to try and help the whole blockchain ecosystem grow, because we want to do our bit and to do it more like efficiently, so to say. Yeah, because probably now, of course, Ethereum is leading the way. It's totally fine, but there always has to be some other like directions of development. And I think that what we propose now is really helpful not only for us but for the whole blockchain world, for this infamous mass adoption, which we still haven't achieved, but we still need to achieve it, you know, and the earlier the better. So a very interesting and exciting year is in front of us, and let's hope that everything that we plan is going to be achieved. Thank you very much.